Let me tell you a story. A small one. But maybe it's a little like yours. There was a person sitting at a table in a room where people were speaking English. It wasn't a class. It wasn't an interview. Just people. Talking. They understood most of it. Smiles, questions, the sound of words floating from one person to another, and then a pause. A moment when the conversation opened. Someone looked at them, waiting. It was their turn. Their heart knew the answer. Their brain knew the words. But still, silence. Why? Because they were afraid of sounding fake. They weren't pretending. But speaking English felt strange, unnatural, like putting on someone else's shoes, too big, too loud, not theirs. Have you ever felt that? Like your voice in English isn't really your voice? Like you're wearing a costume? A voice that sounds too soft, too slow, too wrong. It's okay if you have. Many people feel this way, especially shy people. People who listen carefully. People who feel deeply. People who want to connect but freeze when it's time to speak. Maybe you've spent years understanding English. You can read it, watch it, even write it. But when it's time to speak, everything goes quiet. Maybe your hands sweat. Your mind goes blank. You think, what if I say it wrong? What if they laugh? What if I sound like I'm pretending to be someone else? And inside you whisper, this isn't me. But here's something no one told us in school. It's not about being fluent. It's about being real. And you don't have to sound like someone else to be real in English. Let me share something that might stay with you. Once there was a learner, very quiet, very thoughtful. They knew so many English words but never used them. Until one day someone asked a question in a meeting. Everyone gave big answers, fast, confident, almost too confident. But this quiet person raised their hand. They said, I don't know the best answer, but maybe we can try this. Just that, simple. But it changed everything. Because they weren't trying to sound smart. They were just being honest. And people listened, not because the English was perfect, but because it was true. Sometimes we think we have to perform in English, like we're on a stage, like every sentence must impress someone. But real English isn't performance, it's permission. It's saying, this is what I think. This is how I feel. Even if it's slow, even if it's simple, even if your voice is shaking. That's not fake, that's human. There is no right English voice. There is only your voice. It might be soft. It might be careful. It might take time to come out. That's okay. Let it be yours. Because shy does not mean weak, and quiet does not mean empty. Sometimes the quietest voices carry the truest messages. But maybe somewhere in your past, someone made you feel small for speaking English. Maybe you tried to say something and someone laughed, or they interrupted, or they corrected you too loudly, and your heart learned, this is not safe. So you stopped. Not because you couldn't, but because silence felt safer. That's not a failure, that's protection. And you protected yourself well, but now you are safe here. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to sound like a textbook. You can speak slowly, you can make mistakes, you can be soft. Because English is not a test. It is not a costume. It is not a mask. It is just a bridge between your heart and someone else's. You don't need big grammar. You don't need fast answers. You don't need to impress anyone. You just need a small space where you can be you. Even if your English sounds different. Even if it feels strange at first. You are not being fake. You are being brave. Let your voice rise slowly like morning light. Let your English be gentle. Let your thoughts come out in small steps. You can say things like, I'm not sure, but maybe, let me think for a second. This is just my idea. These are not mistakes, these are powerful, because they are real. And real connection doesn't come from perfect grammar. It comes from honesty, from kindness, from courage, even quiet courage, even shaky courage. That's the kind that grows over time. If your inner voice says, "You sound stupid," your accent is wrong, "You're too shy for this," try saying back, "I'm learning. My voice matters. I don't have to rush." You don't have to be loud to belong. You don't have to speak perfectly to be understood. And you don't have to feel fake when you speak English. Because the truth is, your English voice is still you. It's just learning how to speak. One breath at a time, one word at a time, one honest sentence at a time. Maybe something like, "I want to try. I feel nervous, but I'm here. I understand more than I can say." That's okay. That's more than okay. That's the beginning. Let it be slow. Let it be soft. Let it be yours. And when you're ready, just whisper one thought out loud. That's speaking. That's enough. That's real. So let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like your English voice isn't your real voice? If you have, you're not alone. And if you want a place where it's safe to speak, even quietly, stay here. You belong here. You really do.